Hey guys, Dean here. Today we're going to be building a brand new e-commerce website from the ground up using WordPress. I'm going to go through step by step how to install WordPress on your website, how to install the plugins required to actually get this website working and looking great, and also showing you how to add separate products to the website too. This is for all of you guys who don't want to use Shopify for dropshipping or who want to know how to utilize and leverage WordPress to create and build up a website. This is going to show the basics, setting it up, and how to generally get the flow of things functional so people can begin to go on your website and buy products. This is obviously an alternative, like I said, to Shopify if you want to use a separate platform, if you don't have enough money for a Shopify monthly membership and you already have your own existing host and domain, or if you want to go through that way because it's cheaper. So without further ado, let's begin. Okay, so the first step what we want to do is we want to actually download WordPress. Now you can do this just by going to wordpress.org. Now the first thing that I have to mention before we start off this whole course or tutorial is there's actually a difference between wordpress.com and wordpress.org. So these are two different domains and you may have seen them both and thought they were the same thing. Well, WordPress.org is the actual WordPress software that you can download and then upload to your own custom website. This allows you to extend it with things like custom themes and plugins to add more features and extensibility to the actual software itself. Now, if you go on WordPress.com, this is the web-based WordPress software that's already there on the platform for you, and you can buy a domain and set up a website through WordPress's actual hosting service. Unfortunately, due to this, you can't use custom themes and custom plugins, or at least when I used it. So we're going to be using the custom method of installing it on our own website domain. Now this requires both hosting and potentially a domain name too if you don't want to use a subdomain like .wordpress.com for an example. I already have a domain, I already have a host. I'd recommend before watching this video you'd also verse yourself a little bit on how to use FTP or a file manager and how to actually upload WordPress to your own host so you get an idea of things, because your website hosting will be a little bit different to mine and you may be using a different provider. For the general method of uploading this is going to be exactly the same as long as you use FTP. But if you know how to use a file manager and upload files, you can do it that way too. So I'm going to go ahead and download WordPress, which is 6.02 right now. And you'll see behind my face camera, I have a download. So I'm going to go ahead, wait for that download to finish, and then we're going to drop into the folder, and it should download it as a .zip file, right? Okay, so now in my folder, I have WordPress in my downloads folder. If we double click on it using WinRAR or some kind of WinZip or archive software to explore a zip file, you can see it's just WordPress, and then inside we have all these files. Now there's two ways to do this, to upload it. You could just drag all these files into a subfolder on your website and upload it that way, or we could go ahead and upload the actual zip and extract it. Each of them have different methods of how quick they are. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to upload all the files manually because I've already created the subfolder which I want to use. I'm using an FTP client to upload all my files. Like I said before, you can use a file manager. The one I'm using is FileZilla, seems to be the most popular and I've always used it. And I've already connected to my website over here. So I've made a subfolder inside my domain folder called eCommerce site. So I'm going to upload it here. Like I said, if this is all very confusing to you, you can look at how to install WordPress on your own website and do it that method. So in my downloads folder, I'm going to right click on the WordPress folder and press extract to WordPress. This is in my personal computer's download folder that I showed you, and this will extract all the files. Okay, so now if I go inside this folder, I've got all these files and I'm going to drag them into my FTP software and upload them to my website manually. Now this is 3,000 files, so it's going to take a long time to upload, so I am going to skip ahead. But like I said, if you have a file manager, you can upload the zip and then extract it. It's going to be different for every website host, so me showing you the multiple methods is not going to help you. I'd recommend either contacting your website host, who you pay for, looking at how to use FTP on their platform to upload files, or looking at how their file manager works to upload files to the server, and it'll work the exact same way. Either way, you need to upload WordPress so we can actually start to set it up. So I'm going to pause this now and skip ahead, and then we're going to go to the WordPress setup stage to get the website working. Okay, now all my files are finished, so I've transferred all my files so I can minimize this software over here for the FTP software, and now we can begin and actually set up our website. Type in your website address. So this is my personal website, and you want to type in / and then type in the address of the setup file. Now there should be a readme file in WordPress, so if you don't understand any of the steps which I'm going to talk about, you can also refer to that too. So type in / And then what we're going to go ahead and do is you're going to type in /wp-admin and then / and press install.php. And this will take you directly to the install file. Now, I've actually installed it into a subfolder of my website, which creates kind of like a subdomain. So I need to type in a separate folder. So if you've made a custom folder for this, you're going to have to type in something else after your website address. In my example, I typed in a folder called ecom site. So I'm going to have to type in ecom site after that. And then now we can go to the setup file. So this brings us to the WordPress setup. So here we need a database name, a username, a host, and a password. We create this in our database creator or MySQL database editor in our website host platform. Like I said, if you have a website host, they should have this on their dashboard. You'll need to figure out how to do that on your own host. Basically, using this setup, we can create a WP config file that has all of our database information in to set this up. Let's go ahead and press go. So now we need a database, so let's go ahead and just create a database. So on my website creator, I have this MySQL manager on my website host. You need to find where you can do this. So we're going to create a database with our MySQL manager. Now I'd really recommend to open up a notepad file so you can save whatever credentials you put in here so that you know them for later. So let's go ahead and create a database. I'm going to call it WordPress 1. And press create database. And now we've created a database. I'm also going to create a user called WordPress 1 too. And the password is actually going to be WordPress 1. Now I'm actually going to paste this password because my keyboard is kind of glitched out right now. So I don't want to risk it not working. And I'm going to press add user. And then we've added the user. You can press the cog over here to view additional information too. And now we have created a user and a password. So I'm going to go ahead and type in WordPress 1, and the database name has a prefix over here, which is an underscore on mine. So that's going to be the name of the database. Database name is this. The user is also this with an underscore. This is the password. So I'm going to type in password, which is this, database. So this is going to be our login information that we need to use for this setup config over here. Then what we're going to go ahead and do is now that we've actually created this, we're going to go import all of this into our setup wizard so we can set up our website. So database name is this, username is this, password is WordPress 1, and the database host, leave that as localhost. That should be fine. Usually you can type in like an IP address or your website name, but since we've installed this onto our website's file system, localhost should still work. Table prefix, this is for multiple WordPress installations using one single database. I already have a database and a WordPress website, but I'm probably going to delete this after if I don't need to use it after this tutorial. So I'm not going to mess with this and just press submit, right? Now I'm going to press edit databases and go to this database I've just created over here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tick the read and write mode for our WordPress 1 database. And then we're going to go ahead and press save over here. So then that should mean that we have read and write access. And then I'm going to go to my users, which is this WordPress 1 user over here. And you can change the password and stuff in here if you wish to. So now this should hopefully work. So we'll press submit. And now it says, all right, Sunshine, you've made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database. If you are ready, time now to run the installation. You need to do that thing that I just showed you to give your database read and write access so that you can actually install WordPress to it. Otherwise, you're going to get an error, which I actually got before. So press run in the installation, and then we can actually create our website over here. So now I'm going to put the information from our WordPress site in here. So I'm going to type in MySQL database. So this is our database information for later that we're going to keep saved. And we're also going to make a note of our WordPress installation information too. I'd really recommend you do this just so you know all your passwords and you have notes of your installation so you don't have to forget and have problems later. Site title. Now, if you were to create an e-commerce business, you would probably have your site title as your brand name or the name of your store. So I'm just going to type in e-commerce because this is a tutorial and I don't have a brand name prepared for you. So the site title is e-commerce. Then the username, we're just going to put the username as admin and then a few letters because you'd usually have a username already chosen, right? So just create a username, then create a password. You can generate one automatically. So I'm going to save this on my WordPad or Notepad document. So we have the password and the username. Then we have an email. So I'm going to type in an email over here. This is so probably you can recover your account and change your password, for an example. So make sure you use a real email. There's no point in using junk mail, especially when you're installing it to your own website. You shouldn't be getting spams. And also search engine visibility. So you have a checkbox to discourage search engines from indexing the site. It's up to search engines to honor this request. This is if you want to create some kind of hidden website. If you're creating an e-com store or a brand, you want it to be optimized for search. You want it to show up in Google. So don't tick this box unless you want to make things harder for yourself and have to pay more in ads, for an example. So now we can just press save password. That's pretty cool. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And it will take us to this address which is the WP login. So this means that we've made some good headway. I'm going to press remember me, even though it's saved to my browser. I'm going to log in, and now we've done the most basic form of setting up WordPress, which is making our database, installing WordPress and linking it to our database, and now we can access the WordPress admin dashboard. And I'm actually going to save the website address also in my notepad page just so I've got it for reference. So now we've done the hard part, which is the setup. If you've got through to this point and you've done everything on your host and installed WordPress, you've got past the hard block already, because database problems, file permission problems, you run into a lot of issues when installing WordPress and software on your website. So if you've got this far, you've got the hard work and the hard part over with. So you should be feeling pretty accomplished right now. So here we have the dashboard. Welcome to WordPress. We're on the 6.0.2 edition version. So here is where we can set up our website. So the dashboard allows us to see a few different things. We can create quick drafts. We can have a look at our posts, our comments, and our pages. And we can look at general activity, such as comments, and also news based on the software and from the WordPress service. We can also hover over where it says e-commerce or the name of your website, and we can press visit website, and it will show what our website looks like by default. So we have our site title over here, the most basic template, which looks pretty unattractive, the sample page, which is just the first page it will install by default, and a generic blog article. Now this is kind of like a skeleton website, what it will give you first of all with all the basic default stuff, which we're going to go ahead and delete later. But this is what it would look like before we do all of our customization and make it actually look attractive. Gonna close that, and also at the top you have the updates section. So this takes you straight to the updates section where you can reinstall the version of WordPress you have if you have any problems. Also, it will check for updates. We have downloaded it straight from the WordPress site today, so we have the newest version. And you can also update plugins. So this Akismet anti-spam, we could press update plugins, and we can update the plugins there too. And it should fill in our FTP username automatically, and we can go ahead and update our plugins, okay? So this is where you will update plugins. This is where you can install plugins, etc. You also have the comments over here, so we can jump directly to hot comments, and also we can create new posts, upload pictures and media, and usernames for people who want to write articles if we're creating a blog, for an example. That's the basics. Then we have posts over here. If you want to create a post, which is yet again like a blog article or a post for a page, we're going to bin this hello world page. This was our example page. We don't want this. We can also create categories in here, which is how we categorize each of our posts. So if we were to create a blog and we wanted to create posts, let's say in the tech niche, the fitness niche, and something like maybe general world news niches, we could create categories for each of these, and then every time we create a post, we can put it in each category so people can navigate to these different sections on your website and find certain content easier. You can also add tags over here and add a slug for each tag. And then the media section, this is where we upload all of our images. Now, there's already an inline media section when we create a page. So when you create a brand new page or a post, you can already do this from the editors, but we can do it in here. If you want to just upload things beforehand, we would press add new, press select files, and then we could upload files from our computer in the file browser. So you can view your library, and then you can press add new to upload them. Pages over here is where we can view pre-made pages. Now I'm going to select this button here, which selects all, and then I'm going to go ahead, press bulk actions, move to bin, and just press apply. And I'm just going to delete all these default pages because we don't want any of the default content. We have no comments, that's good. The appearance, this is where we can change the theme. This is where we can also go into the appearance editor. This is the WordPress default editor, which is a basic editor, so we can change how the website appears. This is actually a pretty decent editor by default. I don't think they used to have this because for the longest, people have been using WordPress plugins like Elementor to customize how the website design looks like because the editor was originally not very good. But the default WordPress editor is actually pretty good nowadays, but I personally do not use it. So this is the theme installation point. This is plugins, so where we're going to get all of our plugins from. Now, Akismet is obviously something which will protect our website from spam posts. That's a useful plugin, so we're not going to delete that. Then you have Hello Dolly. This is kind of just like a useless framework. You don't need to activate any of these, but the anti-spam can actually be particularly useful. And if you press add new, we can find plugins. So we will utilize this later to install all of our plugins, which is going to be probably one of the next steps, right? Then we have the users section. Like I said before, this is where we create users. This is only useful if we need to add people who are editors to our website or who need a login if we have separate site builders or people to maintain our website. For an example, if you have a successful e-com brand and you hire some kind of website manager, you can use this to actually create a profile for them and then allow them to have a login so they can actually customize the website, and you can give them a role such as administrator, editor, contributor, author. So this is useful for blogs with different employees who write content for your blog, if you have different content writers, or if you have a brand and you have a website maintenance employee. So this is pretty useful to create new user logins. You have the tools section over here. So we have a lot of different tools over here. So we have site health, for an example, which shows certain statuses about our website, certain plugins which are useless because we're not using them, and background updates which need attending to, just information about your website and data which you might want to take a look at. Settings, this is the general settings of your website. So we probably want to tend to this now and take a look at it before we start to flesh it out. So this is the site title. You can change it. Obviously in the site builder, we created this. So the site title, we've just called e-commerce. Tagline is a simple slogan what your website's about. I'm just going to call it an e-commerce brand. Obviously, this is probably going to be your company's slogan or some kind of cool one-liner which you're going to put in, so you're going to have to put some thought into this. This is obviously the address of your website, the site address people are going to type in to go to it, and the administration email where all of your updates and site alerts are going to be sent to. You can modify the membership system. Can anyone register on your website if you can have user systems? The default roles for those users, the language and the time zone of your website, and the date format on the blog articles along with the time. You can also type in the week information. So press save changes once you edit all this. Then we have the writing section. So this is defaults. So default post categories when you create an article and the format. You can also customize the email settings. So if you have a custom email address, WordPress will push it to that email address instead. The reading, we can change all the different feed settings and how many blog pages show at most, and the search engine visibility section option, which we had in the builder, we can modify that here. As for discussion, this is mainly for comments. So this is all comment moderation options. This is email alerts and anything regarding user and social comments and the avatars which people can have. So we can change it, for an example, for people to have different types of avatars from different services to make them seem a little bit more unique. You can change those settings. The media settings, so what are the thumbnail sizes on your website going to be, and the medium and large size images, what are the default minimums for those. You can also change the organization in year-based folders, which can be useful if you have a website with a ton of media, so you can reference things and go back to them. Permalinks, so when you go on a page of your website, is it going to be displayed by the date and name of the post? Is it going to be a plain slug line? Is it going to be numeric? Organized by the post name or structure? This is stuff you might want to take a look at. And of course, privacy policy information too. So this is the basics. So what we shall do now is we shall go ahead and install the plugins, which we're going to use later. So just press add new, and this will take us to the WordPress plugin browser section. This is going to show us featured plugins, popular plugins, recommended, and our favorites. So let's go ahead and install some plugins which are going to be useful for our e-commerce website. So some pretty cool plugins here. I'm not actually going to go through any plugins which are useless because I don't really want to waste time, but we're going to go through some of these plugin sections and I'm going to install ones which are useful. So first of all, Elementor is very important. So we're going to upload this plugin first. So I'm going to press install on the Elementor plugin. So we're going to install this. Now your FTP information might be different to your actual WordPress information, for an example. So you might want to change that because usually on your website host, you have a separate FTP account to the WordPress account information we created earlier. So make sure you remember that when you want to install plugins directly from the WordPress dashboard. Otherwise, we're going to have to do them manually via the FTP software FileZilla, which I showed you earlier. So Elementor is something which you definitely want. And also WooCommerce is what we're going to use as our core plugin to actually build out our ecom website. So WooCommerce is the main one which everyone uses. That's going to be useful. We're also going to install Contact Form 7 or some kind of contact form plugin. This could be Contact Forms by WP Forms. Literally anything really that people can contact you as the brand or the supplier, okay? Now I have plugin problems over here, probably to do with my FTP account details. So I am actually going to go ahead and download and install these manually. So that's going to be useful for you guys to show you that too. But those are really useful plugins which we're going to need. Okay, so let's go ahead and download all these different plugins. So we have custom reviews by WooCommerce. We're going to want this. And custom reviews for WooCommerce is going to add some more trust to our website. So we're going to download this. And then we're going to go to the normal WooCommerce plugin over here. And we're going to download this. And we also have WooCommerce Cart Abandonment Recovery. So this is going to try and stop people abandoning the cart and also recover their abandoned carts by pushing an email to them so they can potentially think about coming back to your store and completing that purchase. So this is going to be useful, very similar to what you can do in Shopify, so that's going to be a pretty good template. We're also going to download Contact Form 7. I don't know if we're going to use that specific one, but that's also quite useful. And the last ones we're going to download for now is we're going to download the actual Elementor website builder, and we're going to install the starter templates plugin. This kind of just allows us to use some templates to get our website off the ground and make it look attractive without building anything out ourselves or manually creating CSS and HTML based templates, which a lot of people don't know how to write. So this is going to be a pretty cool free plugin to select some free appearances to our website which look professional, and we can start customizing and building out. So now in my downloads folder, I have all these plugins. So I'm going to right click and press extract each to separate folder. If you don't have this, this is called WinRAR, so you should definitely install it to extract all these zip files. So I'm going to press extract each archive to separate folder and wait for this to finish. And this will just extract all the files to plugin folders to make them easier to upload on our FTP file manager. So on our FTP, the way that we actually upload these now is we go into the WP content folder inside our website install and press plugins, and this is where we install the folders. So if we go back into downloads, we can install the base folder. So the plugin, you want to install the folder that has all the files in, right? You don't want to install the folder which has one folder in, because that doesn't work. So install the folder inside that. That's going to be what we're going to do. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all these folders I have to upload and put them in the same folder, so then I can go ahead and upload them all at once. So now I have all these plugin folders. I'm going to upload them on my FTP software on FileZilla, and this is around 6,000 separate individual files. So yet again, it's going to take a while to upload. So I'll be back in a moment when that process is finished. So when you've manually installed all the plugins via FTP, or if you've installed them automatically on the WordPress plugin installer via the dashboard, now you want to go ahead and press installed plugins. Now installed plugins will basically allow us to activate all of our plugins. So press this button to select all of them, go to bulk options or bulk actions and press activate. Then press apply. This will enable all the plugins we just installed so we can just start using them. This will take a few moments because we're activating everything, and you'll have to go through the setup of all the plugins one by one. We can go ahead and go to the settings of all these different plugins to use them, and we can set them up. Now, the first one we're going to use is we're going to go to templates and click on this. And we're going to use this, first of all, just to kind of build out our website a little bit, because we can't set up WooCommerce and add all the different features if we don't actually have a website that works and has an appearance to them. You can add templates from here and upload them. This is the Elementor templates, but we actually installed the starter templates plugin. Go to plugins and then starter templates and press C library, and this will take you directly to the starter templates plugin, and we can press build our website now. Now you want to select the page builder which we're going to use. Now the block editor is the WordPress default editor, which I showed you earlier, which is pretty cool. And then there's Elementor and Beaver Builder. Beaver Builder is also a pretty cool WordPress website builder too, but we're using Elementor, which is the most popular, so select that. And it'll come up with a few different awesome looking templates we can use. Now, the ones obviously with premium you do have to pay for, so we're going to try and use only the free templates in this tutorial. Now, the great thing about this starter templates is there is actually an e-com category, so we can just click this and it'll take us to all of the pages and page templates we can import, which actually look like they could be for an e-com store. So we can actually create an e-com store with a template which is already pre-configured for that category. So go through any of these and find which store looks you actually think would match your brand, for an example, and we can start building out a store based upon that. So some pretty cool ones. Now, obviously, you got to sift through a lot, which are obviously not free. And unfortunately, there's no filter because they want you to obviously pay for templates. So you can't filter between the free ones. You can only filter premium or all of them. So it's kind of a little bit irritating, but you can go down and you can try and find a template which you actually like that doesn't say premium on it, which may take a little bit of browsing. And obviously, there's not actually that many templates in this whole list. Now, I'm just going to use this fashion designer brand because it's a really basic template, and I think it's pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to import this template. So you can also upload your logo here. So what you would do is if you want to create a custom logo, you'd save this logo here, which is this CK logo, or open the image in new tab and then save this, and then you would edit that in Photoshop and then edit that to look like a new logo, and then you would upload it over here. That's so you have the right dimensions of what the logo is for this template, so it will look good. Okay, so that's how to edit a logo and upload a custom one. I'm going to skip that. You can also change the logo width, and then we can press skip and continue. You can now change the house style of the template over here too, so we can change what colors it utilizes. This is based on like the style of your brand and the color sets of your company. For an example, I'm just going to leave it on default. You can change your fonts over here too, so what the fonts look like, and it'll preview them over here, what it will look like in the template, and then we can press continue. And then there's one last step, okay? So you can type in random information, and your emails, and you can type in if you're a beginner and if you're building it for yourself. I wouldn't really recommend even filling out real information here because they're just using it for marketing. And then you can install all of the prerequisites. Also, don't tick this if you don't want emails. Basically, all these should be ticked. You can also untick share non-sensitive data if you don't want to share any private details, for example. But you want all these ticked, okay? So it's going to, first of all, install the theme, which the builder's going to use, which is this Astra theme. It's going to import the customizer settings, which you selected to customize it. And it's going to import widgets and any more required plugins, okay? So press submit and build my website, and then it'll go through this builder stage where it will install the theme, the plugins, the forms, etc. And it will basically output you with a pre-built website already that we can then customize for our store. So this is perhaps the easiest way to build up a WordPress website. And it's one of these methods which I've used in the past to build up websites, okay? Because I used to be super into building my own website before I kind of ran out of time. I have a lack of time to build up my site, personal site and business site right now. But this is the method I used. It's great just to kind of get it off the ground, and then you can customize the theme and build it out and make it look nicer than what it already looks like. Okay, so this is the easiest way to get our site off the ground and make it look attractive. So I'm just going to wait until all of this is installed and the steps are finished, and then we're going to continue. And as you see, whilst you're installing it, it will go through a few different steps and it'll tell you what's happening so far. So it's importing everything, it's importing different site options, all the widgets and the plugins, and now it's finalizing and finishing off the settings. So when it's done, it's built your pre-made website based off the template, and you can just click view website. It's a pretty quick progress to do. But like I said before, you do need to fix up your file permissions and make sure all of your user accounts are actually enabled to have read and write permissions to your website. And you need to make sure that your WordPress has the right FTP account settings to make sure that this works. So now you've done that, everything should be right. And we already have an e-com system already plugged in. Okay, you can see we now have a shopping cart. We have everything already set up in our website based from the starter templates, and we could literally just plug and play and use this website already, right? There's no manual setup really required. We just need to fine tune everything to build it around our brand. So we already have a usable, brandable website for ecom with all these different categories, which we can then further customize and change depending on what we want to sell. So we already technically have a usable website. So we're already steps ahead of what we needed to do. So now we can drop back into the dashboard and we can take a look at everything. What we can go ahead and do now is, now that we've kind of technically built out our website, if we want to actually customize the website, we could then go into the customization section. So if you want to customize the general website, you would go to appearance and then customize. This lets us change how the website visually looks, but this is mainly for editing the landing page, aka the home page, and how everything looks like this. But there's also a page editor and builder using Elementor, which I'll show you after. So when we go and look into our website, under global we have settings like the typography, which is fonts, the colors, which is the house style of the website, and the appearance of the buttons when we actually click on them and interact with them. We can also go into the header builder. So this is everything in the header section. So we have the site title and the logo. So this is the logo I talked about later, this little CK logo. We can right click and press save and then edit it in Photoshop and change the logo here to actually put it on the header. So if you want a custom logo, this is how you do it, and you can also change the width of it too. You can also press display site title, and this enables you to show the title of the website alongside the logo. So you can have a combination of a logo and also a combination of the logo and the site title, and you can also tick this to put the logo on top of the title itself. So this is pretty useful. So you can also display the site tagline, so that will basically place your slogan of your brand below your brand name. And obviously, if you untick display site title, you can still show the slogan, but it'll show it next to the logo. There's a lot of different messing about you can do and fine tune these features depending on what you want to show on your website. So that's what you can do with a logo. Then the search, you can have a search bar on the website, which is this little bar over here. So if we turn this up, you can make it bigger. But by default, it's on 18 in the theme, so we're going to leave it that way. Under account settings, we can have a look at the actual user account. So if you log into your account, what's displayed? Maybe it just shows an icon, which is this little user icon over here on the right, which you can't see under my camera. So I'm just going to move my camera to show you. There's a little user avatar over here. We can change that from an icon to an avatar. We can change it to text instead, which shows my account. We're going to leave it on the avatar because that looks quite attractive. You can also change the URL of the account, whether it opens in a new tab, the profile type, There's a lot of different things which we can modify with this. We're currently not going to touch this though, because this is already pre-configured. We can also have a look at the basket. So what's the cart icon going to look like in our theme? We can change it to a cart. We can change it to a bag or a basket. I think personally the cart icon looks the best, so we're going to leave it like that. We can change the positioning, and also there is a design tab, so you can change all the colors of everything if you want to change that too. The HTML1 section, this is where we have this custom HTML block over here, which just says summer sale. So if you want to put things up here like a promo code, just put like use code cart or something like that, and it will come up there. And you can put like promo codes at the top of your theme if you have like a sale or have discount codes, which you'll need to manually add those codes into the WooCommerce plugin later. But that's how you can display little landing messages at the top of your template, just like on Shopify. Then you have your primary menu, which is this menu over here. So you can configure the menu from here and it'll take you to the menu editor where we can change all these different menus which we have. The reason for this is because we have a sub menu here and we have a primary menu at the top. So this is how you can edit all these different menus. And then we have the social. So this is obviously the social icons here. We have by default Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and also YouTube. These are put on by default. We can press X to remove the ones we don't want. We could also select from the drop-down list here, and we could add some more social icons like Patreon, for an example, or anything which we need for our brand, if we have a brand account on Telegram or something like that. And then if you want to click on it, we can then change the name of it along with the icon over here. We have an icon browser which we can select or use search for. So I could just type in Facebook and it would come up with icons for Facebook, Facebook Messenger. So we can create custom social media links on here which are not on the default categories over here. We can also then type in the URL. So if I would type in like instagram.com/thebluecrusader, which is my Instagram, which you guys should follow anyway, I could add that as a little social icon there, and it will add it over here as the URL here. So that's how you add URLs to these icons. We can also press show label here. What this will do is it will show the name of the social media websites. I won't recommend doing that because it looks quite ugly, but that's how to change all the header settings and add all your socials on. Then there's the blog over here, so we can change it to a single post blog layout or a blog archive. These are the different settings for each of these. We can change how they appear. We don't really want a blog on this website, so we don't really need that because it's an e-com site mainly for the purpose of a store. We can change everything from the sidebar to the footer, which is very similar to the header. So the footer is basically this over here. So we have the copyright section. So the copyright, which shows the copyright logo, this is just like a short link code. I wouldn't recommend to change these because these add the icon, the copyright logo by default, the current year. So whatever year it is in the calendar, it will add that year. So when the calendar changes to 2023, your site will automatically update to 2023 with a copyright slogan at the bottom if you leave it like this. If we just typed in the year like 2022, we'd have to manually change it, so leave how this is. The site title, it will use your WordPress title, and then powered by is obviously the custom text, and the site title again is your website. So you could type in like copyrighted by. We could change that text because it's not the short codes and brackets. You can change this stuff from here. I wouldn't recommend changing it though because it's already pretty optimal. That's how you change the copyright. Then there's custom HTML boxes here. So over here, this is kind of useless template text. So we could put some information about our brand that I guess would make more sense. So we could type in like CK is the world's leading female fashion brand, something like that, and then replace how this looks. So that's how you put like a little logo on there. There's also other custom HTML boxes, which is the box displayed over here. Now, these are custom images, so you'd have to find these icons to replace them, but these are basically just what the website uses for its default payment gateway. So we have the Visa, the MasterCard, then we have this icon, I can't really see it, and then also Apple Pay. So anything which your store supports, you could add icons down there, or you can remove it. This is just basically a set of block widgets over here. Then you have your socials again, so these social icons are the same as in your header. You'll have to configure them to your liking and add all your social URLs. The performance of the website, so this is to do with fonts and how the website loads. Then WooCommerce is the settings of the actual store, so I'm not going to touch that just yet. The site identity is a site icon. So if you select a site icon, so we could go through free images for an example. We could go through our media library. I could just select this generic logo over here for an example, and it will show this. Basically, the site icon is the favicon or the fave icon, however you want to say it, and that's the small icon which is right next to your tab in your internet browser. That's what the icon will be displayed as. Mine is this little wolf because that's the icon of my main brand website, so this is what that would be. So we can just add a random image over here, and usually this has to be a very small icon, okay? If you put a large icon in, it usually won't work. So select a small icon, and then you'll also need to crop it. Otherwise, you'll get errors cropping your image. But that's what you do. You can also go to Site Logo Settings, which will take you back to the logo settings we were on before. Menus is the menu system, so we can further customize them here. We can change the widgets, which will display. And then the homepage settings. So this is super important for a WordPress website, right? The homepage settings are, do you want a static page, or do you want your latest blog articles to display? Well, in the template, it's already done it for us, a static page, and it's selected our homepage here. If you wanted to take you to a different page, you would change it to one of these, but the way that our store is already pre-configured, it would kind of mess up that flow, so we're going to leave that. You can also change your post page, so if you do want a blog on your e-commerce website, maybe you're going to use that blog to put high quality posts regarding your brand or the products that you're selling to help rank yourself in the search engine. Maybe you can actually put a page for your blog posts on here, like make a custom page over here, and then put your articles to go on that page only, and you can select that as your post page. But I would just leave that for the most part, but that's how you would do that. Now, that's how you customize your website. Like I said, I don't have a brand, so I'm not going to mess with this site too much. I just wanted to show you how you can do that and what everything does in the appearance editor. So for the WooCommerce section, this is the general settings for the WooCommerce inline plugin, right? So this is how you change how everything appears on your website, the container types and the product structure over here, okay? So you would go through all these general settings to change how it already appears. So we have a product catalog over here to show all of our products, which is a shop page over here. So we can change how this looks. We can show products, categories and products, and we can select all information. We can show the shop card structure. So how do our products display as the card in the shop? So first of all, we have the title over here, which has been added. So we can hide that, for an example, and our products won't show the titles anymore. We have the title first, we have the ratings, and then the price. If we unhide the short description, it will also show a little product description, but that really clutters the page, so I wouldn't recommend that. And we can also, which I think is particularly useful, so people don't have to click on the product page itself, you can click Add to Basket. So if I unhide that feature, Add to Basket, then in the inline card, when they're searching through the products, they can add it directly to the basket. Now, it doesn't look particularly attractive to do that, but that would be a great way to convert more sales, so people might just impulse click it to the basket. That's also another cool thing you can do. Then we have the single product. So what does the single product look like? This is basically your product page and what's displayed on the product page. You can have the shipping text. This is basically customizing how the WooCommerce plugin shows everything, okay? You can change the button of the cart button text. The checkout page. So this will take you to the checkout page when people add things to the basket and they want to go to the checkout. You can customize it here. So this is where you change the privacy policy, guys. So this is really important sensitive data you might want to take a look at, because usually you have terms of service, privacy policy, all those kind of things in Shopify. This is where you put your privacy policy over here in the checkout page, and it's also where you have a terms and conditions page. So you might want to create a new page in WordPress to put a terms and conditions page and attach it onto your checkout, so you can put all the terms. If you want a no refunds policy, you need to make sure that's here too, just to make sure you don't have any unnecessary refunds. Exactly the same as how we do it in Shopify, right? But you just have to do it custom in your own way. So that's how you would do that. You can also hide certain fields. So do you want address fields to show? Do you want a company name field to show? And whether you want these fields to be optional. What data do you want to gather from the user and what's required to actually enter? And this is also the page where people can enter these coupons that you might want to show at the top, okay? So that's the checkout page. Then we have the MISC page. We have product images, what's the width of the images and the aspect ratio of the scaling, and also the store notice, okay? So this is going to be basically a little custom message you can enable, and it will be shown site-wide, so you can use it to show events or promotions to visitors, just like this thing here. So if I press enable, this is going to show as a little store message on our page, and as you can see, it will add this little banner at the top, and then we can just type in summer sale 20% off code summer, just something like that, exactly what we did before, right? But instead it'll show it in a big colored banner all across the site, which is actually dismissible, so people can click it and the message disappears. So that's how you actually would add promotions using that feature. It's a little bit easier than the way we did earlier. So that's how to customize WooCommerce. We're now just going to press publish. We're going to publish our changes which we made to our website. And now we can press X and go off the customizer. And this is what our website looks like. We've not changed it much from the template, but you can customize this how you like it. Put your brand image on, put your site logo on, and change how this looks, change all of your different categories, and it's a really attractive looking website. You can also press customize at the top again if you want to go change it, and this is how you would change your website, guys. So that's the basics of all the categories, the customizing categories. We can also go down, we can modify a few of these things over here, and as you can see, this is the basics. Now, if you want to know how you can actually change the homepage physically, because we can't change any of the options here, let me show you how you actually change the page. And we have to use Elementor to do that. So we're going to go into the WordPress dashboard. On the WordPress dashboard, you want to click the section where it shows pages, right? So we're going to go down, we're going to find pages over here. And on pages, it will show all the pages on our site. Now it shows homepage, and it says front page Elementor. This means that it's been set to our default landing page. Press edit with Elementor. This is very important because it'll bring up the Elementor block editor, which allows us to actually edit our website in the best way. So this will bring up the Elementor page. So this is where we can actually edit how our page looks like. So if we click on a certain block or feature, it'll allow us to customize it. For an example, we can click on this button now. We can change text of this button here. We could just put explore the collection instead. We could change the category name, so we could just type in like women's clothing. This is how you change everything. We could change this little slogan here. I don't know, I'd just change it to like the best female clothing line in the world or something like that. Remember, this is just showing you how to change this website. You need to change everything based on your brand. And you can change the images here. So I could click on image and choose image and switch this for something else, for an example. And this is how you customize it. And it's basically a block editor, okay? We can also go down to testimonials. We could change the name of this woman. So if I have a legitimate testimonial from a customer I want to put on here, I can change this woman's name to some actual woman's name, for an example. Probably not this actress's name because you'll probably get sued, but let's say I have a real person. And then I could type in a review saying, I tried the jewelry off this site and it's simply amazing. Just something like that. This is how you could add the testimonials and change them. You could also put the special offers down here and put the codes here, just like we did at the top, and the shop now button. This is how you change everything. And also if you have a blog, you can link direct articles over here. So you can put the description, the title, a preview image of the articles. And this is, you're going to have to do this as a custom thing. This isn't automatic. And then if you wanted to link it to a certain article, you would click on the link over here and then paste the URL of the blog post you want to link it to, for an example. So that's how you would edit all of the blocks in the website. Now, if you just want to add new rich content to the website that's not already here, you use the block editor on the left-hand side. So the block editor allows us to drag things like an image into a section, and then we can put an image in here. Or we could use a button and put the button in here and add a button inside too. And we can change all of the information like the link, the text, the style, and the advanced features. So this is how we'd add a new element using the Elementor site builder. So there's so many things which we can add. So we could add a video, for an example, if you have like a product video, just like with drop shipping. If you have a video of your product, you can add these onto the homepage. You can add icons, forms. So this is a really important thing you might want to add on your website for support. I could add a forms feature at the bottom of my website right here and press select a form, and I'll just select simple contact form. And they can type in the name, the email, and the message, and they can contact us. This is best to do on a specific page that's called Contact Us, for an example, but this is how you would do that. And you can also press edit the selected form to make sure that it actually goes to your email and everything actually works. This is because it uses the WP Forms Contact Forms plugin, so we can actually create our own forms using this method. The reason we have all this stuff already installed is because we use the Starter Templates plugin, which installed it all for us, and that's why I recommend doing that. That's very important. Otherwise, you'll have to install all these plugins manually, and they won't be available to you if you haven't done it in the right steps that I have. So that's how to add a contact form to your website. Specifically very important with e-commerce sites and WooCommerce, especially for customer trust. And then we have a lot of pro features down here, which we don't have unlocked, and a lot of general features like star ratings, testimonials, different alerts, social icons, a lot of content which we can add. So you just need to kind of get to grips with this content system, how to use it, and that's how to edit pages with Elementor. So let's now go back to our dashboard and let's just go through some of the plugins and the settings and show you how to set those up if you want to change them. Okay, so first of all, let's go to the WooCommerce plugin itself. This is where you can change all of the core information when you're not in the site builder. And through this, we can go through our store details and we can set up our actual store. What you would do is you type in your address, your postcode and city, and then you would go through and select the product types you actually want to add. So obviously ours is like a health and beauty / fashion brand because that's the template we chose. but this is dependent on your template. And then you can also tick whether you want to have physical or also digital products as well. So if you want digital products like downloads, so if you want to sell files on your e-com store, you can also tick that here, which I'm not going to add. And obviously, if you pay for WooCommerce Premium, you can add things like subscriptions, memberships, bookings, bundles, customizable products, all those extras, but we can't actually use those because we're using the free version of the plugin. Then we can also type in company information. So we're just going to select I don't have products yet, and we're not currently selling anywhere. And you can also add a business feature to the website. Okay, so we'll just press complete and continue. We'll install that as well. And this installs certain other plugins like WooCommerce Payments, WooCommerce Shipping and Tax, Jetpack, MailPoet, Google Listings and Ads, Facebook for WooCommerce, etc. So this basically allows you to use certain other plugins, just like the site builder did, to improve WooCommerce and upgrade its features. Okay, so WooCommerce Payments will allow you to add things like, I think, Stripe payments and other payment gateways, which obviously the more payments you have, the more chance your buyers will actually purchase your products. And then also shipping and tax, that's super important, and the others just for optimization. So then we can go through and choose our themes. Now this might actually mess up our store that we have with our whole template system that we've installed, so you might want to skip this step. The only reason I'm showing it you is for people who want to manually actually set up their website with WooCommerce without the template system. This is what you're going to have to go through, okay? So I'm just going to go through and press continue with my active theme, which is this Astra theme over here. This is important because this is the theme which we actually originally selected, and I don't want to mess that up. But if you want to install it completely fresh, you would obviously select any theme that you liked from that catalog, okay? So this is the setup wizard. Just like with WordPress setup wizard, this guides us through the WooCommerce installation process. So it may take some time to apply all these settings, just wait. And then we have a Jetpack account, okay? So I'm gonna just sign up with my Google account for Jetpack. This is one of those plugins it asked us to install, one of these optimization plugins. So we'll just go through the setup process of all this. And now we have our store set up, okay? So just like with Shopify, when you're setting up your store with WooCommerce, it will come up with like a tick list of what you have to do. So next up, we're going to set up WooCommerce payments. So to do this, we need to verify our details, okay? So we'll go through all these steps, of course. So what we have to do is we have to press finish steps or finish setups. And this allows us to add accepted payment methods to our store, because who's going to buy our products if we don't have any way to actually get paid? So for this, you need to type in your email address and then also a phone number. So I'll be back in a moment. So once you've typed in the code, which they send you via SMS, which is your mobile phone number, we can then also type in the type of business. So we'll just go through this. We don't know our type of business yet, so I'm just going to leave it on the default settings. And we have to go through this payment process information. The reason we're going through this is because WooCommerce Payments uses Stripe, which is a payment processor, to allow for other types of payments or payment methods to be used on your store. So this is like Visa credit cards, for an example, okay? So you would go through all of this and you would enable all these payment methods. So then you go through and you press your industry. So I could just type in jewelry stores, for an example. And you need to fill in all your legitimate details with this, because this is kind of legal information regarding your payments in your actual company. So if you've already got one set up, it's best to type in all the things which you have. And then you're going to select an account for payouts. So any earnings that you receive via Stripe, when people pay via that system, they're going to send all of this money straight to your bank account. So this is where you put your bank sort code, your account number, and your bank account details in here. So type these in and go through the setting process, and this is how you set up the whole payment gateway for WooCommerce. So that's how to set up WooCommerce payments. You can also add tax rates over here. So you need to choose a tax partner for this, so WooCommerce Tax or Avalara. I'd recommend just using WooCommerce Tax, because then you can just use their inline system. You can also add shipping costs. So this is based on your shipping location. So you can manage any shipping options on here using the WooCommerce shipping settings. And you can enable shipping, label printing, and discounted rates. And you can type in the shipping. So if I wanted to ship products to United Kingdom, how much would it cost? So for an example, I could just type in £4.99 that I charge, and then the rest of the world, maybe I would charge double because international shipping costs more. So I would just type in something like £9.99 and then save those shipping options. And then also you can enable the shipping label printing with the ShipStation plugin. So that's another option if you've got physical products. That's how you do your shipping costs. Then you can also click on Get Sales. And the Get Sales section basically offers you certain plugins which is for marketing. So we have MailPoet over here, which lets you create and send purchase follow-up emails newsletters, and promo campaigns straight from the dashboard. Then the Google listings and ads lets you reach more shoppers and drive sales to the store by integrating Google to list products for free and launch paid ad campaigns. So just like with Shopify, you need to have ad campaigns on platforms like Google, Facebook, and TikTok. You can actually install this to have Google ads, which you can manage straight from your store over here, which is pretty useful. And you can also do the same with Facebook. So you can create Facebook ads and Instagram ads directly through WooCommerce with the Facebook Ads Manager. So this is where you have all of your email marketing and ads campaigns to actually grow your store. So that's how to drive customers, retain customers, and get more traffic to your website through this, which is pretty cool. And also third-party stuff over here. So we have different mail extensions. So MailChimp is for like targeted campaigns via SMTP, which is email. You can recover abandoned baskets and more. And also WooCommerce Creative Mail. That's for on brand store campaigns, fast email promotions, and customer retargeting. So that's also options. And for store growth, they also have TikTok. So TikTok, just like with Shopify, have their own plugin for WooCommerce too. So you basically can use TikTok to promo your products across their platform. So this is how you have TikTok ads campaigns and how you can market through TikTok directly from your dashboard, just like what I showed you guys with Shopify. If you've seen this channel before, I did that in a recent video. And then also there's Pinterest too. So you can also put your products on Pinterest and market it over there too. So this is basically the marketing hub on WooCommerce. This is how you market your e-com store straight from WooCommerce. So if you're not sure how to get visitors onto a website, you can do it with the ads and the email services over here. So that's pretty cool. And obviously you can set up all the ads and listings and view your stats. You can also personalize your store. So you can create the homepage, customize it, upload the logo, and set the store notice. Okay. Now, if you were to have MailPoet, for an example, on your website over here, you would set up MailPoet via this builder, and this will allow you to basically go through and use the email to your advantage, okay? So I'm going to press start using MailPoet. So MailPoet will import all your WooCommerce customers. So I'm going to press yes. And do you want to enable cookie tracking? I'll just press yes too. So basically MailPoet is going to kind of scrape all your customers, because when they use WooCommerce, they type in their email in the shopping cart or when they create an account, and it's going to scrape all their emails so you can use them for email marketing, right? And we'll use MailPoet to then send all those users emails. So we could set up a welcome email to welcome people on our newsletter list, or to send people that we've scraped their emails for. We could also use this to create regular newsletters. With WooCommerce specifically, which is super important, we could use this to have abandoned shopping cart emails. So people who have left items in their shopping cart and not checked out, we can convert up to maybe 5% of users that have abandoned their product carts. We can send them an email. We can also send them an email after the first purchase, like for a thank you. And we can send an email to people who purchase certain category-specific products, or people who just generally make a purchase. And we can also just customize the emails in general over here using the editor. So this is really powerful. I'm not going to dig too deep into this and how to do the whole email marketing thing, but trust me, you need this when you're creating an e-commerce store with WooCommerce, because it's really, really useful. Like I said, we're trying to make this just as powerful as Shopify, and you definitely can do. You don't need to use Shopify, because things like WooCommerce are just powerful enough, okay? And you can have a look at your email forms, your subscribers, your email data list, and the settings over here. So this is a really useful thing. Then the products list down here, this is just generally your configurable products on WooCommerce. We already have products which have been added automatically via our template, and we can go ahead and edit any of these, and they all have different IDs and pictures. So if you were to edit pre-existing products, it would take you into the editor. So you have the general description of the product, you have the product image behind here, then you have the information about the product. So what's the price, what's the product on sale, when we have like a promo, how much inventory do you have of the product, do you have a SKU, which is the stock keeping unit code, and what's the status of it, is it in stock, what's the shipping, so the dimensions, the weight, and certain other attributes of the product, okay? Then the short description of the product over here, and any reviews. You can actually add comments, which I guess would be kind of fake reviews if you want to just kind of bump it up a little bit. And you can also complete the settings for Google listings and ads, because you can use that feature directly from the product page itself. And you can add it to product categories. So you can add new categories straight from a product customization page, and you can add more product images to the product image gallery so people can preview more images of the product. So that's how you would view products and edit them. You can also press add new to add brand new products using WooCommerce, and you would do the same thing, but you would add a product directly that's new. And you can add new categories through here, and you can also edit the reviews, so we can add new reviews over here and edit them too. Okay, payments, that's just the Woo payment system, so we need to configure that, but that's how you can go back into it and change it. Then the reviews is the Woo reviews plugin. I just showed you basically just now, but this is actually from our plugin we installed earlier, which is super important. And then analytics and marketing, so this is where it takes us to the Google and the Facebook ads, and Elementor. WP Forms we installed earlier, but we don't really need that now because we already have the Forms plugin I showed you earlier, which our starter templates plugin actually installed. So now we can just go on eCommerce, press visit site, and we can take a look at the website that we've actually built. So we now have this really nice template, a really attractive website, and a functional WooCommerce store which is integrated and built into the website. So now it's all just up to you to further customize it and try and build it around your whole brand and make it more tailored to the products you actually want to sell and your own company, and set up everything in the way that I've showed you step by step. Now, if you have any questions, do comment them in the comment section down below, and I'll try and help you guys out and answer anything that perhaps you didn't understand from this tutorial video. This was a full free tutorial and course on how to make an e-commerce website with WordPress. If you want to learn more about business and e-commerce and money making, do subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of content about that. And like I said, if you have any suggestions or queries, do post them down in the comments below, and I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. If this was valuable in some way, do like the video because it will encourage me to put more free videos out there like this one. And make sure to subscribe because there's a lot more free content coming very soon, which is just like this. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.